Hey, bricks and mortar retailers, welcome to this week's training, and it's going to be all about values, just following on from what we've done in the past few weeks / 1 month, which has been all about understanding and developing your mission. Great intro. Let's turn the music off a little bit so we can start to get a little bit serious here. Cool, music's off. So yeah, we've been focusing this year so far, 2025, on the fundamentals, right? A lot of my clients that I'm working with are a little bit unsure about some of the basic stuff. Well, what I assume to be basic, but some of us have really no conception about what this kind of thing is all about and how it affects us when we're trying to grow and scale our business. You know, these are some of the things that you need to have to put in place if you're trying to take your business from 2 mil to 5 mil. You know, it's some of the foundational things that you need to work on in your business. So that's what we are going to be talking about today. This is what I'm calling very, very originally the Values Decoder Workshop. Don't you love my names? If you want a copy of the worksheet, the whole idea is I want you to, at the end of this workshop, to start to elicit some sort of values for your store. And then I'm going to show you how to roll out what to do with those values, right? And how it might benefit you. This is a very, very quick overview. This is something I go through in depth with my clients. So if you want some more information on how our team can help you within your store, to implement some of this stuff and to help you grow and scale your store, just make sure you send us a message or put the comment "grow" down below, and one of the team will reach out to you. So let's rock and roll. So this is the Values Decoder Workshop, right? So the problem, right? Many of us retailers, we have within our stores, like sometimes, most of the time, really poor and inconsistent customer experiences, right? I'm sure you've seen this on the floor. You're walking around and you see Mary serving a customer one way, and then you see John serving another customer another way, and there's kind of a little bit of disconnect, and you kind of like cringe. That used to happen to me in the beginning when I was running my pharmacies, right? I was looking around saying, oh man, they shouldn't be serving that customer like that. And yeah, that's probably, if you're experiencing that in your store, that's probably due to the fact that your team don't actually know how you expect them to behave and what their values are or what their values should be. The other thing you see quite often is that your employees are disengaged, right? There's no alignment within your team. And when this happens, you may not only have bickering within your store, you'll have a really, really bad cultural vibe. You find that you're constantly trying to hire new people, and you're constantly going down that turning wheel of constantly chasing your tail. The other thing is, you know, you've got a weak brand identity, right? How many of you have walked around and, you know, spoken to other customers, and your customers and perhaps your friends don't really know don't really understand, or it's not clear to them what your store actually stands for. And then all of this is some of the foundational things that will actually stop you from growing your business, scaling your store if you want to, but really just taking it to the next level. Why does it happen, right? You know, I go hop back on the same thing, right? None of us have, well, some of us might have MBAs, but many of us retailers, we didn't go to business school. I haven't gone to business school. And so, you know, we don't really know the value of understanding our core values, not only for ourselves, but then how it translates into the store, just like, you know, the work we did on our vision. But all this stems about is as a result of not understanding your clear purpose for your business and for yourself, right? So there's a lack of clarity. And that's why all your staff are just running around. There's no consistency that's happening. The second thing is you've got no process. Like, okay, I need to figure out what my values are, but how do I go about doing it, right? So hopefully, if you've done some personal development work, it's very similar. The process I'm going to show you today, not work through it. I work through it when you become a client, but I'm going to, on a very high level, show you today is the process on how to elicit your values. Now, for some of us, this is a little bit woo-woo. For many of us, it's probably going to be the first time we've actually taken some time to sit down and actually work on our business, which is quite hilarious. But ultimately, it boils down to the fact that we have no values because we don't even actually have a process on how to figure it out. So many of us, we kind of just go for the short-term gains, right? We have a short-term focus and just trying to do everything that we can right here in this moment, just living day by day, week by week within our stores, not really planning, not really aligning for the future. Or some of us may have some superficial values, like values that our team can't recognize or resonate with, or that they can't sort of understand and implement within our store, and how it sort of falls back towards you, the owner, and your store as well, right? So all of these things are really, really important when you're trying to develop an amazing culture within your team, within your store, and it's super necessary, to get all of these things right. And what happens, right, if you get it right? I've always spoken about creating a rockstar team. Check out that training below. If you want a link to just search in the Facebook group, Rockstar Team. So I'm all about making sure that your team have got all the resources that they need to actually grow your business. Because taking your store from 2 mil to 3 mil and beyond, believe it or not, it actually relies on the systems and processes that you have implemented, and also heavily relies on your team. So you need to set up the structure, because you cannot do everything. And to be honest, you don't want to do everything, right? You don't need to do everything. You've got better things to do, like travel, play sport, do all the fun things in life, rather than being stuck in your store. Remember, if there's anything that you've learned from me, or if there's a reason why you've resonated with me and the way I do things, it's all about creating more time and freedom. That's my biggest value, right? So that's what I'm all about, so that I can do the things that I want. So you're going to get, if you get this right, you are definitely going to have a stronger team alignment. You're going to have improved customer loyalty, because you're going to be providing a consistent experience throughout your store, and everyone's going to be sort of served and looked after the same way. You will have better decision making within your store, because the values that you elicit, it just becomes so much more aligned. And all of these things actually allow you to scale and makes it so much easier for you to grow, because basically, just like an army unit, you have all the right people in place who share the same mission that we spoke about a few weeks ago. They share the same values, and we're going out and we're going to help your customers and solve their problems. And that's how you scale your business, right? Not only that, you will get increased cash flow, increased profitability, the value of your business goes up, and hopefully, like I mentioned in the beginning, the amount of hours that you spend working in the business reduces, and you can start working on it and leverage yourself out of the day-to-day. So what do you need to do? It seems pretty basic, right? If you've read the E-Myth and if you've read any of Tony Robbins' stuff, a lot of it revolves around reflection, trying to understand what you stand for and what your long-term goals are. And this is a really, for many of us who haven't done any personal development, professional development, right? It can be a little bit challenging to sit down and write down what we actually want. I'm so surprised. Maybe I've just been super lucky being brought up in this whole personal development space, that we find it very, very uncomfortable to be doing these things. But so it involves a little bit of introspection, and once you get used to, once you get used to this process of introspection, you find that it can 3-4 times your results. It just makes your decision making so much clearer. You can work through stumbling blocks, and I highly recommend that you make that as part of your repertoire. But I digressed again. So yeah, reflection, and also involves bringing your team together, right? Because what you want to do, you want to get buy-in from your team, and you want to make sure that you get some input about their store values. So here's the kicker. Yes, you're going to involve your team, but you are going to set the underlying overall values, because this is your store, and then you are going to bring your team around to it, right? And get the buy-in that way, and to make it seem like their idea in the form of a team meeting. By the end of this, you'll have a process to pick 3 to 5 specific, meaningful, actionable core values that you can use within your store. And you will find that super, super useful. And then it's really about there's no use in having the core values unless you are not communicating it. So you need to make sure that you communicate this to your team, embody it. You make sure that you bring this up on your team meetings, when you do your reviews. Understanding your values helps you in the hiring process, just like the mission statement that we did last week was. So it's just some real fundamental stuff that a lot of retailers overlook. And ultimately, you need to, once you realize this yourself, because these are your values, you will actually start to lead with this and embody it and set an example for your team. If you're not on the floor on a daily level, then you'd certainly set an example for your retail manager or your management team, which will then disseminate that onto the rest of the team members. So what I've got here is a core values discovery worksheet, right? And so you need to work through some of these questions here. Take the time and sit down and figure out, what do I want to be known for, right? How do you want your team members to act? What principles do you think guide your decisions? What are the biggest problems that you solve, their strengths, etc.? And then use this tool to further on and help you create the core values for your store. So just remember the worksheet. If you want a copy of this worksheet, just write worksheet down below. We'll make sure that we get it out to you. As I said, I won't run through this in any great detail. I'll just fly through it, and you can work through it. It's pretty self-explanatory. So basically, what do you want your store to be known for? You'll see my little explanation there. Think about your ideal reputation. What words would you want customers and the community to use when describing your store? And write 3 to 5 of these down, right? I'm just bringing up my example here. So what are some examples that you could use in that first section? Okay, so we did this. I did this with one of my clients, and whoops, where is it? Just bring it up. Okay, so I'm just going to give you some examples. This is one of my clients. They run a gift store in the US. And so, over here, so she put down, what do I want to be known for? And this is a gift store, I reiterate. So the words, right? Just 3 to 5 words or phrases that capture the essence of your desired reputation. So, she wanted to be known for unique gifts, thoughtful gifts, friendly service, to be the hub in the community, and to be able to support local artisans. So those are some of the kinds of things that you could think about when you fill out this section on what do you want your store to be known for. The next one, the next column, and just fill it down the bottom. Yeah, you've got a few lines there. Use as much space as you need. The next one is about your team members, and how do you want your employees to treat customers and each other, right? So just visualize, if you're observing your team at their best, they're firing at all cylinders, what specific behaviors do you want your employees / team members to exhibit, right? So back to the gift shop, my client there, some of the things that she wrote down in here was, some specific behaviors. She wanted to make sure that her team members greet customers warmly and enthusiastically, wanted them to offer helpful and personalized recommendations, treat each other with respect and kindness, go the extra mile, handle complaints with empathy and professionalism. So you see here, like, this is not rocket science, right? This is basic things which perhaps you as a retail store owner have already got this in your head, and you just assume that everyone should be doing these things, but in reality, they're not. It's in your head. You need to get it out of your head, and then you need to communicate it to your team, and only then, do they understand what your core values are. So as you saw in that example with the gift shop, it's just basic stuff, but the key here is to write it down. Doki oki. All right, next one. So here is where a lot of owners get a little bit challenged, right? So you want to dig deep, look inside, figure out, when you are faced with a tough choice, what factors for you are non-negotiable? What lines will you never cross, right? It's a very personal thing. And yeah, before we go into that, I must mention, not a lot, some retail store owners, they get analysis paralysis, right? There is no perfect way to do this. This is a working document which can change, breathe over time. Some of us perfectionists might spend an hour doing this. I just want you to download and dump, download and dump. Just do this really quickly. Set a timer, 5 minutes maximum. Just the first things that come into your head are probably what's going to be a good start for you for now. You don't have to over engineer this, and you don't have to get this perfectly right. Okay. So in this case, my gift store owner, um, what principles guide her as an owner, right? So she likes to support local artisans and makers, provide high quality products, creates a warm, welcoming, inclusive environment, operates with honesty, integrity, and wants to give back to the community. By the way, you can already start to see and picture in your mind what kind of person this store owner is, right? And do you imagine the disconnect with the way that she views the world, what she's trying to achieve, and then what was actually happening in her store, which was the total opposite, by the way? So, she's coming into the store, seeing all her team members, and she's getting grumpy herself because, man, she's like, I just don't feel the vibe in here because it doesn't resonate with what her core values are, which she found out eventually, and what she's trying to create. So this will also make you a much happier person because things are in alignment. Okay, so that's that. Yeah, I'm going through it pretty quick, but you can do this yourself. If you want some help, make sure you reach out. We'll do that. So the next thing is having a look at your store, and we've done this exercise in various forms, looking at our ideal clients, etc. But we're looking at what are some of the problems that we or you are facing in the store, right? What are some recurring issues in service, teamwork, operationally? Let's get down into nitty gritty and let's try and list some of these things, right? And so for the gift store, she was seeing inconsistent customer service. And she values personalized attention, right? So that's really, really important. She also found, I beg your pardon, that the store was, the team had real difficulties in keeping the store looking fresh and exciting. And for a gift store, she wanted that to be the case, and she values creativity and innovation. So, this is really, really important to her. So that she sort that out. So list the problems that you are experiencing in your store, right? The next one, what are your greatest strengths, right? And how can you amplify them, right? A lot of people, I'm blanking, but you want to work on your strengths rather than work on your weaknesses, right? So whatever your strengths are, let's amplify them, because that's going to be so much easier for you to implement your strengths within your store and actually grow your business that way. So here you are. What are they? What are the store's greatest strengths? Let's list a few of them. So, in the case of the gift shop, she had a really unique and curated product selection. It's a real, makes her store so unique. She also, in her case, had strong relationships with her local artists, right? So she values collaboration and nurturing. So those were some of the unique things that stood out within the store for her, and something that we can work on. And the final one is we're looking at the core values, right? So here, I found that many of us are just trying to figure out, like, how do we tie all this in together? This is not rocket science. It's not meant to be. It's kind of like a fluid thing. So just do the very, very best you can in trying to fill this part out, right? So you want to review your answers. And the whole process of answering these 5 questions was to try and elicit some sort of values that capture the essence of you and your store, and that might guide your team's actions, right? They need to be specific and meaningful and actionable. For the gift shop, these, as an example, these were some of her core values that she summarized based on all the work that she has done. There's 5 questions. So it was really important to her to have personalized attention as a core value, because it's really important for her that her and her team provide tailored recommendations and exceptional customer service, right? Number 2, you can understand that she loves to support locals. That was a core value for her because she's a champion of local artists and loves to contribute to the community, as we found out. Another core value was discovery. So she's continuously seeking out new and unique, high quality gifts so that she can solve her customers' problems. And the fourth value was creativity and innovation. She loves encouraging new ideas and keeping the store fresh. So that's what she came up with, right? If I went through that pretty fast, then you will just have to watch the replay and do it again. And hopefully that will give you some ideas on what the gift store owner did to come up with some values for your store, right? So these were just some examples that you could work with. So that was the values decoder, right? And then what? So you then need to share with your team, share these core values with your team, and try and figure out how you're going to integrate this into your store's culture. And the best way to do this is to have a team meeting. Hopefully you're having your team meetings and talk about it. Let's say, hey team, I've just done these exercises. This is what I stand for as the owner. This is what I believe in. This is what I'm trying to create within the store. We know our mission. This is what's really, really important to me. How does this feel to you guys, right? So a couple of things can happen here. You will either get buy-in or not buy-in. And what you need to do is try and work around and getting buy-in and get them to understand why these values are important to you. And so, yeah, you are going to get some people where they will come around. Some people might not, and that's okay. As long as they can fake it till they make it, or eventually they will just realize, like, man, this is not the place to work for me, and I'm out of here. So, which is great because you don't want these kind of people in your business. So these values then are part of the daily operations of your store. You definitely want to use these values when you are doing your hiring, your training, and your reviews. You want to be using the terminology. You want to call out those actual values, right? When you are running an ad for hiring, you want to make sure that you sprinkle your values in there, or perhaps mention them straight out. Like, these are my values. This is why. This is what I believe in. This is the kind of store I'm trying to create. Do you want to come and play with me? So you want to make sure that you do that in the hiring and training. And of course, you want to lead by example. So the last thing you want to do is not embody these yourself. And if you happen to be serving a customer on the store and you're doing the total opposite of what you believe in, that's not going to fly very well. And it's that you're not going to get much congruency with the team on your floor. So you're going to make sure that you demonstrate these values to your team members. And if you have a retail manager or a second in charge, you want to make sure that this lands with them as well, because it's the team, the management team, and yourself that'll be disseminating this to the rest of the team members, right? And I get it. Many of us, we've got part-timers, high school students, university students. You need to make sure that this disseminates, people that only work one shift a week. So that's going to be super, super important. So once you do this, you are actually going to amplify the way your store works, right? You've got shared values, you've got all of a sudden teamwork, customer focus, and this allows you to grow your business and allows you to scale infinitely, right? So you're not only going to get more cash flow, more profit, you are going to be able to work less in your business. You're going to be able to scale your business, and just by simply doing that values decoder worksheet. It's so important. Do not snooze on the worksheet. I think that's the last one. So yeah, so it's time to land this puppy at home. Time to land this puppy, maybe. It's that's the end. So if you want a copy of the worksheet, just write the word worksheet down the bottom, and we will get it out to you. Remember, you can always watch the replay and go through the example and figure this stuff out and implement it in your team. And I would love to know down the bottom. Let me know, did you implement it? How did it work? What challenges did you face? What was the reaction with your team? Let me know in the comments section below. Until next time, catch you later, retailers.